What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. So we got some more breaking news right now. Your man's Anthony Johnston has been training with Floyd Mayweather. Now, listen. I mean, what can I say on this one? This dude messy, man. Listen. This dude, Mr. Johnston, is all the way messy. And from what I've been seeing, I've got some more videos coming soon. My man's been turning up on New Year's Eve and getting his nails done. And he's just, I'm telling you now, there's one of two things that have gone on here. Either number one, some way, somehow, he took a dive. However, like I said before, the fact that he was so shocked at the result and the fact that he was fully gassed at the end of the fight and flopped onto the stool implies he didn't take a dive. But like I was saying, essentially from these actions, yeah, there's one of two things that's going on with Mr. Zest. Yeah? There's one of two things that are going on with Mr. Zest Johnston. That's his new name. Anthony Zest Johnston, 100%. What's going on, Zest? Yeah? Anyway, like I was saying, there's one or two things going on with Mr. Zest. Number one, a very small possibility or probability that he took a dive. The larger, more likely outcome or more likely likelihood is the fact that this dude has essentially mentally checked all the way out with this game. Now, but YB, he in the gym and he ain't taking it serious, man. He just ain't. He's got his kids out his son's out in Dubai, and I get it. I understand that. Well, no, tell a lie. I don't get it. Yeah? I don't get it. I'm lying to you. This ain't the time, unless he's got it all under control and it was all a big kind of scam to bump his fans, yeah, and bump the YB's coins. Unless that was the case, I don't know what he's doing. Yeah? I got all the kids out. He's got a whole bunch of kids out there. I'm thinking, this ain't party time. Yeah? That last fight, I don't know what you saw in that last fight. Well, to tell a lie, I do know what you saw in the last fight, because you told us after the fight, yeah, Mr. Zest Johnston said, "Oh, well, y'all need to be happy that, I put hard work in." And what? That's what I swear to God, he said, "Oh, I hope the fans appreciate my hard work." I kid you not. So there's something clearly not lining up here, folks. Yeah. It's not lining up, even a little bit. 100%. It's not lining up even a little bit about, I hope the people enjoyed that. Wait there. 24 hours ago, you was all in the sky video, talking about, it's going to be a KO, and, I'm the Kronk, and, how'd you go from Kronk, how'd you go from all in the sky interview, Kronk, to getting washed by some next cruiserweight who couldn't punch at cruiserweight, and it's a good night. It's a good night's work. What? This guy, something's not right here, and I think if I had to bet, my belief would be this dude is checked out. Now, again, the Floyd Mayweather news, I would be much more inspired if I'd heard Mr. Anthony Johnston has signed a training deal with Floyd Mayweather. If that makes sense. If Floyd Mayweather had committed to a 3-month camp or a 4-month camp of Johnston, I'd say, yeah, that's inspiring to some extent. But at the moment, all this seems to be is just a bit of, well, I'm in Dubai, Floyd's in Dubai, in between partying, in between playing with the kids and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's one of them ones. It seems like a bit one of them convenient ones. Not one of them, I've headhunted Floyd and let's get serious. Let's get some serious work in. Yeah, I haven't seen that real, and really when I think about it, yeah, even after the Ruiz loss, I have to admit, well, relatively speaking, I was about to say I have to give Johnston credit, but I ain't giving him no credit for what he's supposed to do. But what I'm saying is, after the Ruiz loss, if you remember correctly, there weren't too much zestiness going on. I don't remember him being in Dubai for months on end, partying and with kids and whatever else. Not partying with kids, but my point is, he's got a whole bunch of kids out there in Dubai and playing daddy and whatnot. It's weird. Yeah? You're 30 years old, you've got plenty of time in your life to play daddy. This ain't the time for that, in my opinion. What happened to the old days where they'd say, "Oh, I haven't seen my kids," and I'm not saying you need to be like that strict, but it's just too zesty for me. Yeah, your behaviour's way too zesty for your last performances, if that makes sense. Now, there is some examples of people who can go in there and who have shown they can flick the switch. And up until this last fight with Usyk, I clearly gave Johnston credit for having that ability to flick the switch. That's why I bet on him. I put the house on Johnston because I believed if worst comes to worst, I know he'll dig deep and just crack on. Oops. Yeah, he hasn't got that. He hasn't that flick. That switch wasn't there. And that's why I've got a problem with all this extracurricular, extra zesty behaviour going on. Yeah? If you're proving that you can flick the switch, then it's not so bad getting your nails done. It's not so bad hanging around with kids and playing daddy. Yeah? But when you can't flick the switch, I'm thinking, well, how is that helping? How is what you're doing now helping build that warrior mindset, which you clearly, Johnston, have not got? You are not a warrior. You are not a throwback fighter, yeah? I don't care how many Under Armour advertisements you try and put out there to sigh up the people. I'm telling you now, you ain't a warrior, and you ain't no throwback. Like I told you before, the only thing you're throwing back is your backside. Yeah, 100%. You throw it back for Usyk. Listen, like I told you before. Yeah, you ain't a throwback fighter. You're a throwback booty because you stay throwing that booty back for Usyk. You threw it all the way back for him, 100% on the ropes. Yeah. Yeah. So until this dude, YB, why are you microanalyzing everything that's going on? Listen, I didn't ask him to gas the people up. I didn't ask him to gas me about Kronk, about KO. Yeah? He chose to do that. He chose to say he want to be serious in this game. And for me personally, yeah, and this is the problem you see, I've got a feeling Johnston, from what I'm seeing, and people say things like, but YB, he's in the gym with Floyd, so he must be serious. No. I'll never disagree, yeah. Do I believe Anthony Johnston loves to train? Absolutely, but there's levels to this. Being a gym fighter is one thing, or training in the gym is one thing. Performing on the night is a whole different ball game. And I know that myself personally. Everyone, I love to train as well. But going in there on the night, it's just there's levels to it. Being in love with a sport under the lights it's actually a complete different sport to being in love with training. Turning up to the training gym where there's no pressure and there's not a lot of expectation, that's easy to fall in love with. Going in there and you got the pressure of the world on your shoulders and whatever else, complete different ball game. And I haven't obviously been to his level, so I can only imagine the exponential nature of it. However, that's what it takes to be a throwback fighter, or to be the greatest, or one of the greats. You ain't demonstrating that. And what gets me is, it's like you're trying to do way too much. Fair enough, if you came out and said, you know what, I'm just going along for the ride, and this is what frustrates me is, that's what I believe. Ultimately, I believe Johnston has resigned himself to just cashing out now. Don't forget, people, in the post-fight interview after the Usyk loss, AJ himself conceded. This for me was one of the most shocking statements. Josh Johnston himself conceded that, what are you telling me? Even if I don't get the belts back, are you telling me the Fury fight won't still be big? Are you telling me you still wouldn't watch the Fury fight even if I don't get the belts back? Oh? That is madness, people. How are them words coming out of your mouth? You're supposed to be saying, I don't know what happened tonight, but that skinny 200-pounder is getting it. That's all. There's no more, no less. Yeah? There's no getting your nails done. There's no playing daddy in Dubai with a whole bag of kids. Yeah? Keep the kids at home. That's what I mean. I've told you before. The women and the children stay at home. Yeah? What is this? What is this zestiness? And I'm sorry, but it is. It's a 2021 way of doing things. Back in the day, the women and the kids stay at home. The men go to war. These days, no, but it's mental health, and you got to have the family and in the camp, and it's zesty. I'm sorry. And like I told you before, if you can pull it off, like I think, to be fair to Alvarez, I think Alvarez keeps his family around him. But again, I ain't got a problem. I'll never If you can flick the switch and crack on when you know what I mean, like, more power. But when you can't, you have not proven you have a sound mind, Johnston. The last thing you need, I mean, today he was posting videos and he had the kids punching his belly like he was showing out rocks. It's bad. I'm telling you now, Johnston is down bad. Yeah, he was standing there all kind of buff looking, all strong looking, and the kids were punching his belly. I'm thinking, what? This guy, where was that? Listen, Johnston, where was that stoicness? Or where was that stoicism when you was in there with Usyk? Because like I told you, listen, before that Usyk fight, I said, what if I was in the camp, what would have happened? Yeah? If I was in the camp, we'd have gone in there, super duper stoic, yeah? Stood there, guard nice and tight, and just exactly that. Too tight, yeah? And Usyk slaps would have bounced off, and he'd have been like, oops. But you're being stoic with kids, but then you're in the ring, you're all zesty. There's no stoicism. I'm telling you now, in 12 rounds, you didn't show no stoicism. You showed zest, yeah? Heaps, bags of zest was oozing out of you. And I'm sick to death of these Johnston fans. Oh, no, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Based on what? Because if you think Johnston can do anything, it's not based on nothing you're seeing. It's not based on nothing. It's not based on no fact. And for me, it's like he seems resigned to his impending fate. It's kind of like, well, you know, I'm off the gravy train now. Let's just milk it for what it's worth. And that really is disappointing. I have to admit that. It really is disappointing. And I'm not even sure, to be honest, if he really understands that. He may be super duper dopey. He may be like 60 IQ. And he might not even know what's happening, if that makes sense. That's also a possibility. I'm potentially giving him too much credit for actually knowing what's going on. He may just be completely low IQ and completely oblivious to the reality of his situation. I mean, we're 4 months out, and you're in Dubai with it. It's not. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't get how he feels comfortable enough to be messing around in Dubai willy-nilly with this guy and that guy, and with children running around the place. Explain it to me. It's baffling, man. Oh, we're going paintballing and we're just having a whale of a time. It's almost like, I mean, I'm not being funny. I haven't seen Alvarez, who's on top of his game, relaxing like you're relaxing, if that makes sense. You're relaxing like, honestly, Johnston is, from what I've seen, or from what he puts out, and that's what's worrying. We only see what he puts out, and he puts out the most zest. And the way it comes across is like he's a retired man. That's the truth of it. That's the truth. Apart from the few training shots we see, but it's kind of like, and what's that prove? We saw you. Listen, we saw your training shots before the Usyk fight. So my whole thing is, what have you shown? What are we seeing that's different from the first fight? Nothing. Obviously, we've seen no commitment to a particular trainer who's new. Yeah? We've seen no discipline. We've seen nothing that gets me inspired to think. I mean, even look at Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard brought a new trainer in, but they brought one new trainer in and that was it. And I think they worked together for about a year before the rematch with Queen Arthur. Make one decision, stuck with it, and crack on. I don't remember seeing a whole bunch of videos with Yard in getting his nails done, and I know he hasn't got kids, but I just don't know. It's just odd. It's weird, man. It's super duper weird. And I'd like to think I'm a bit disappointed, but I mean, I'm over it now anyway. I think his legacy is done. That's the truth be known. Well, listen, if he gets beat by Usyk again, his legacy is done 100%, and that'll be it. There'll be no more. Currently, he's gonna, even if he beats Usyk, he's still gonna struggle to be a top tier Hall of Famer. Yeah, you've blown all your chances. Johnston now will need to knock everyone else out. He'll need to knock Tyson Fury out. He'll need to knock whoever else is out. Joe Joyce out. People like that. That's it now. For you to be a top Hall of Famer after losing to Usyk and losing to Ruiz. That's what you're going to need to do. Because people say things like, yeah, but YB, what about Lennox? He lost to this guy. He lost to that guy. Well, they was proper heavyweights. They was proper athletes as well. They weren't Majin Buu and some cruiserweight. Yeah? And the thing is as well, Lennox had a bit of an excuse in as much as he wasn't even training. I'd rather, this is what gets it so, this is what makes it so bad for me. It's the fact that Johnston's actually in the gym. I'd rather hear that, well, you know, YB, that camp, he was only in the gym for a week. You're in the gym 24/7. It's like, what the are you doing? How can you be in the gym 24/7? Tyson Fury pops in and out. He got more cardio than you. What are you doing? It's mad. Got about 50 million sports science muppets around you, and you ain't got a lick of cardio. Even when you went throwing no heavy punches, Johnston literally threw about 10 heavy punches that whole fight, and he ended up one of the most gassed I've ever seen him. It's madness. And I'm afraid to say, people, let's not forget, Johnston fought in September. It's now been 3 full months since then. And what have we seen him really do? I remember back in September saying, well, you know what, guys, he needs to knuckle down pick a trainer, and, you know, maybe he's going to have enough time. It's going to have 6 months, but he's going to need to use all that time. 3 months, half of that 6 months is now gone, and where are we? Oh, he's in Dubai, picking and matching with Floyd here. You know what I mean? It's mad. And that's why I've come to the conclusion he's kind of done with. He kind of knows his career's over, and he's just kind of. And I won't be surprised. I'm actually hearing now that AJ has left McCracken, and I'm hearing he's going into profit maximisation mode. I'm hearing he's sacking McCracken, and he's going to plan on bringing in some random dude, or maybe not even fighting with a trainer. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing he's going to put some random guy in. He can pay 1%, and then take the extra 9 or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing he's going to go into pure profit maximisation mode from now on. Cut all the dead wood off and just make the most money, cash out, because he knows he's finished. That's what I'm hearing. And that explains also why he is dipping in and out with different trainers. I'm hearing for the next 3 months he's going to do a random camp where he has a week with this guy, a week with that guy, and in doing so, it means he doesn't have to pay anyone. And don't forget, he actually said as much. He said, oh, I want to spend some time with a lot of trainers, but people, please don't expect to get paid. That's what he said. And guess what? Johnston has had his worst upset and his worst fight, yeah. And what have we seen? Have we seen any consistency? Have we seen any commitment? Or have we seen him mixing, matching, and trying to get freebies? Oh, we've seen him trying to get freebies. So, again, either he knows something we don't, and it was all a fix, or all he knows is finished, and he's just trying to soak up as much coins as possible now, and go through the motions. Because I'm telling you now, people, you Johnston fans out there, if you think he can just spin this round, yeah, spin it round. This wasn't one of them ones. This wasn't one of them spin it round ones. Oh, YB, he doesn't need a trainer. Oh, YB. If you think that, you got no hope, in my opinion. Or there's a very small... I'd never say never, but there's less than a 10% chance that Johnston will just magically pull it out of the bag. Especially when you consider the deterioration over the last few years. Think about the Pulev fight, where he was nervous to pull the trigger. He was nervous of an old, slow, non-aggressive fighter. When you think of the deterioration Johnston needed, I remember at the time, back in September, saying, oh, maybe if he can get with Shane, and then maybe if he has a warm-up fight and can delay we were talking about trying to get a year to correct the mistakes. Never mind a year, he's blown off the first 3 months having fun, having a whale of a time. It's really crazy. It's madness. But end of the day, he's a hard-back man. I'm not sure what the situation is with... I don't know. It's just all really odd. It's really odd. I mean, after the fight, Johnston himself said, "Oh, my team need to be accountable. My team are giving me crap advice." But then, you've still got... Because, yeah, Rob's bad, but what we know now is... Rob is bad, but equally, Fernando Alonso and the other Muppet, or in fact the whole lot, are bad. There isn't anyone on your team who is vital to your future success, and that's a fact. Because I'll tell you this for free. In that Usyk fight, in my opinion, you did nothing to a great standard. In fact, out of 10, yeah, let's say 8 plus is great, yeah. I'd say you did, at best, your best parts were about a 5 out of 10. Your best parts were average. Nothing in there to put the world alight, was there? Tell me, do you mind telling me? Tell me one thing you saw Johnston do that was great. Oops, there weren't nothing. So it begs the question, if you can be in camp with these people for 2 years now, which has been the case, and then you go in there, and I'm being funny, but look at the Pulev fight again. In the Pulev fight, what did he do that was so great? Consistently throughout the fight. For me, loading up and swinging massive shots and missing half of them against a 40-year-old static target, that ain't great at all. So consistently over the last 2 years, your team has proven they ain't working any of your attributes to a great extent. And what makes it worse for me is we have examples in the past of AJ, much younger, much so-called inexperienced, performing and demonstrating some of these attributes to a much higher level. I've gone through the fights in the past. We've seen AJ demonstrating 7 or 8 out of 10 skills. So where have they gone? Why is your team so useless to this day that you've deteriorated so far? Before, you were tearing people like Dillian White up. Go back and watch most of his early fights. I've seen AJ pulling, I've seen AJ slipping and countering, I've seen a lot of it. Where's that confidence gone? Where's that flair gone? I've seen you take shots from Dillian White and bounce back and just get, you know what I mean, be comfortable in there. I'd call that Dillian White fight something similar to, what's the mode they call it? I'm not sure what it's called, but you were in flow state. That's it, flow state. That's what it looked like. That's how it's supposed to be as well, for the great ones. But you ain't been back there since. To be quite frank, because even in the Klitschko fight, that wasn't really flow state. That was survival state. You was in there and went into survival mode after getting clocked. Your team useless, but you still ain't clocked on. And to add insult to injury, you're out there just having a whale of a time in Dubai. But we'll find out anyway. Yeah, we'll find out. Floyd, I mean, yeah, a few sessions with Floyd, it's not going to hurt, but it's not what he needs, I don't believe. Yeah? Now, if Floyd was to commit to a full 6-month training camp, which Floyd is never going to do, but if he was, that would be encouraging. But in a way, AJ and Floyd teaming up for a few sessions shows the lack of discipline and the lack of kind of trainer discipline AJ has in his camp right now. Meaning that people like Shane McGuigan have already said. People like Shane McGuigan and top trainers all have a similar philosophy, and they all say, if I'm the head trainer, I'm not having more than one voice in my camp. It's going to be my voice only. And what that shows us is that the fact that we're even seeing Anthony Johnston with Floyd Mayweather giving tips and pointers, yeah, that shows he's out in Dubai, he's got no real structure to his training, he's got Fernando Alonso out there probably, all loosey-goosey again. Loosey-goosey, look where loosey-goosey got you. Look where going for the motions got you. You need a disciplinarian. Someone who can break you down and build you back up like a robot, but not a stiff robot, a disciplined, boxing to orders robot. You tried the loosey-goosey and you got washed. Yeah? But you're still trying to push ahead with the loosey-goosey. Oh, we'll bring Floyd in, and you need a disciplinarian. You need consistency and repetition right now. Instead, you've got the opposite. And in my opinion, it's only going to end in tears, unfortunately. But we'll find out.